All right, so get this. We're diving deep today into Laurent Chenot's health.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah, and we've got like medical documents, expert opinions, even some cultural stuff from Benin and the Amazon.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride.
Sounds fascinating. What's the goal here?
Well, we're trying to get a clear picture of his health, mental and physical.
Okay, makes sense because I've heard some conflicting stuff out there.
Exactly. It's a bit of a puzzle, isn't it?
It is. So where do we even begin?
Well, the most concrete evidence is his serology report
Okay, and what does that tell us?
from January 2023 and shows negative for hepatitis B
Okay.
and no THC either.
All right, so that's a good starting point, a verifiable baseline.
Right. Now let's talk about those expert opinions.
Yeah, who are these experts?
One is Dr. Bertrand Canavy.
Okay, and he's
got a ton of credentials, doctor health research member of like 1 million medical associations.
wow, impressive.
But the key thing is, he's known Laurent Chenot for over 10 years.
Oh, wow, that's a long time. So he must have some real insights.
Exactly. So Dr. Canavy acknowledges Chenot's bipolar and Asperger's diagnoses,
Right, I've heard about those.
but he emphasizes these conditions don't equal mental instability or malicious intent.
That's an important point to make.
Definitely. Just because someone has these diagnoses doesn't mean they're dangerous or anything.
No.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah, and Dr. Canavy even suggests potential OCD tendencies, but again, not necessarily a bad thing.
Interesting. So how does he tie all this together?
He explains these conditions can contribute to a heightened focus on safety and security.
I could see that.
And that could explain some of the communication patterns that have been observed.
Yeah, like maybe some things have been misinterpreted.
Exactly.
Now, I also heard Chenot's been through a lot of tough times.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Canavy details a whole series of traumatic events, like the disappearance of a close friend,
Oh, wow.
financial scams, threats against him and his mother, even property damage.
That's awful.
Yeah, and he even felt like he didn't have support from law enforcement. Seriously, that sounds incredibly stressful.
It is. And Dr. Canavy suggests this chronic stress could be impacting Chenot's mental state.
I bet it does. Who could blame him?
And get this, his medication was actually adjusted because of severe anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts.
Wow, this is heavy stuff. So we're seeing someone with complex diagnoses and a history of trauma.
Yeah, but hold on. We have another expert with a totally different take.
Really?
Yeah, Dr. Lolo, a psychiatrist described as extraordinary, says Chenot is in impeccable mental and physical health.
Oh, come on, are you serious?
Yeah, it's wild, right?
So now we have two completely different expert opinions.
Exactly. How do we make sense of this?
Well, Dr. Canavy has that long history with Chenot, so maybe he's focusing on those nuances.
Yeah, and Dr. Lolo might be emphasizing his current state, stability and all that.
Yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. But tell me more about this Dr. Lolo. He sounds like a character.
Oh, he is, and his letter is something else. It's like reading a novel.
Haha. All right, I'm hooked. Let's hear it.
Let's do it. So this Dr. Lolo, he really doesn't hold back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he jumps right into Chenot's bipolar, saying it's totally stabilized.
Interesting choice of words.
Yeah, and get this, he compares it to a four-legged table.
A table.
Yeah, you know how stable a table is.
Okay, I get it. So he's saying the bipolar is not a concern at all.
Right. And then he addresses the Asperger's.
Okay, this should be good.
He says Chenot has it, but navigates the social world with ease.
So he's saying it doesn't hold him back.
Yeah, and he actually praises Chenot for not being on social media all the time.
Wait, what? So he's saying not being online is a good thing?
That's what it sounds like.
Wow, that's a new one.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He even calls people who are too online YouTubers.
YouTubers.
Yeah, like a play on YouTubers.
Okay, I see. So maybe he's saying Chenot's avoiding all that negativity.
Yeah, maybe. Then he gets to those accusations against Chenot.
Oh, right. The whole Secta X thing.
Exactly. And Dr. Lolo basically accuses them of making stuff up.
Seriously.
Yeah, he says they're all about projection and persecution narratives.
Wow, he's not pulling any punches.
Nope. He's like, if Chenot were unstable, it'd be a fascinating case.
Okay.
But he's not. So he's just a balanced and lucid human being.
Balanced again. There's that word.
It's interesting, right? Dr. Canavy uses it to describe managing a condition.
And Dr. Lolo uses it to describe overall well-being.
Exactly. It shows how different people interpret these things.
It really does. So we have these contrasting medical opinions.
But then we have the cultural and spiritual stuff, too.
Right, from Benin and the Amazon.
And those seem to support Dr. Lolo's view.
It's almost like they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah, like Chenot is healthy and a good person.
I wonder how those cultural perspectives fit in with all this.
I know, it adds another layer, doesn't it?
It does. It's like what's considered healthy in one culture might be different in another.
That's true. We tend to focus on the medical model.
Yeah, but this case shows that cultural and spiritual beliefs matter too.
Right. It's about the whole person.
Exactly. So let's dive into those cultural insights and see what we can learn.
All right, so we've got Dr. Kanavi with his take and Dr.
Yeah.
Lolo with his, and now we're going to hear from Benin and the Amazon.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
Right. It's like a whole other world, you know?
Totally. So first we have Dr. Nakamosato.
Kizzy.
He's a specialist in cults.
Cult? Wow.
And then we have Marius Siunko, a spiritual leader from Benin.
So an expert on cults and a spiritual leader. This is going to be good.
It is. Both of them actually agree with Dr. Lolo about Chenot's health.
Really? So they're saying he's mentally and physically sound.
Yeah, Dr. Sato even says Chenot shows none of the signs of someone in a cult.
Wow, that's pretty powerful coming from a cult expert.
It is. He's worked with a lot of people in cults, so he knows what to look for.
Right. So no red flags there.
Yeah.
But what about Suyunko? What's his perspective?
So he explains that Chenot has a special status in Benin called Favi.
Favi, okay.
Yeah. And it comes with a sacred oath to uphold truth and justice.
Seriously, so it's like a moral code.
Yeah. And they believe if Chenot breaks this oath, there will be spiritual consequences.
Wow, that's intense. It's like he's accountable to a higher power.
Exactly. And then we also hear from the CryptoQueen people of the Amazon.
The CryptoQueen people. Okay, I've never even heard of them.
They're pretty amazing. They see Chenot as a protector of the rainforest.
Really?
Yeah, and they associate him with a white eagle, which symbolizes positive energy.
A white eagle.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's like he's got this global network of support.
Pretty incredible, right?
It is. You've got medical experts, cultural perspectives, spiritual insights, all pointing in the same direction.
It really makes you think about what health really means.
You know, it does.
Yeah.
We tend to focus on the physical and the mental.
But there's clearly more to it than that.
Right. It's about the whole person, their connections, their beliefs, their purpose.
Exactly. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from this whole deep dive.
Yeah, it's like health is a tapestry, you know?
It is woven together by all these different threads.
And sometimes you need to look beyond the obvious to see the full picture.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listeners, we ask you this. How has your understanding of health changed after this deep dive?
Yeah. How do you define well-being now? It's something to think about, for sure. Thanks for joining us.